Scientists have discovered tiny fragments of 2 million years old DNA trapped within frozen layer of Arctic sediment. The ancient genetic material, which is the oldest ever discovered, has provided a glimpse of a previously known ecosystem. Since 2006, researchers have uncovered 41 samples of DNA within 328 foot 100 meters slab of sediment at the Cap Formation in northern Greenland. The genetic fragments, known as environmental DNA, were left by plant, animal, and microbe that once lived in the area and have been perfectly preserved by permafrost and ice. The previous oldest DNA sample ever found, which was revealed to the world in 2021, was retrieved from 1.2 million years old mammoth bone in Siberia. Researchers isolated and analyzed the ancient DNA sample and compared them with known genome sequence to reveal what creatures left the DNA. The result paint a picture of an incredible diverse ecosystem that include birds, reindeer, hares, and most surprisingly, mastodons, an extinct group of elephant relatives that were not previously known to have lived that far north. A new chapter spanning 1 million extra years of history has finally been opened, and for the first time we can look directly at the DNA of a past ecosystem that far back in time. The DNA fragments were incredibly difficult to study. Each scrap of genetic material was only a few millionth of a millimeter long, which made it hard to isolate the fragment from the sediment layer without completely breaking them. The researchers wrote in the statement, the collection of the sediment began in 2006, but before attempting to extract the DNA, the researcher decided to wait until more advanced technology was available. It wasn't until a new generation of DNA extraction and sequencing equipment was developed that we have been able to locate and identify extremely small and damaged fragment of DNA in the sediment sample. As well as a variety of animal, the DNA also revealed the presence of several species of trees, bacteria, and fungi. Not all the DNA sample could be matched with known species, suggesting that some could be new to science. However, almost all were identified to at least the correct genus. The sediment layer excavated by the researcher accumulated during a 20,000 years period around 2 million years ago. During this time, the area was between 18 to 31 degrees Fahrenheit, warmer than Greenland is today. This shows that entire ecosystem can rise and fall because of the climatic changes. The data suggests that more species can evolve and adapt to wildly varying temperature than previously thought. But crucially, these results shows they need time to do this. Therefore, species at threat from current human-driven climate change are unlikely to be as successful because they will have much less time to adapt. The researcher will now try to build a more in-depth picture of the NAP ecosystem by working out how the various species might have interacted with one another. The new findings could also shed more light on if and how DNA was changed over the last 2 million years. Being able to locate, isolate, and sequence such ancient DNA also provide hope that similarly ancient or even older genetic sample could be unearthed somewhere around the globe. If we can begin to explore ancient DNA, we may be able to gather groundbreaking information about the origin of many different species. Perhaps even new knowledge about the first human and their ancestors. The possibilities are endless. Nested in a cave in the snowy Altai mountain of Siberia, fragmented bones and teeth have revealed the first ever glimpse of Neanderthal family more than 50,000 years ago. A group of adults and kids died while sheltering at their hunting camp, and the finding provide archaeologists and geneticists with the most complete set of Neanderthal genome to date. About 100 km west of Denisova cave, which produced evidence of an extinct species of hominin called Denisovans just over a decade ago, where in 2019 excavator found some 90,000 stones artifact, bone, tools, animals, and plant remain, and 74 Neanderthal fossil. The organic remain of cave which was presumed to be the short-term bison hunting camp, were radiocarbon dated to between 51,000 and 59,000 years old. Pollen and animal remains shows that the climate was quietly cold in the short time Neanderthal occupied. A new analysis published makeup of the Neanderthal and neighboring cave. The study yielded 13 genomes, nearly doubling the number of complete Neanderthal genome sequence in existence. While previous work estimated the size of Neanderthal communities based on footprint and site use pattern, the new genomic analysis directly tested the hypothesis that Neanderthal lived in biologically related group of 20 or fewer. Genetic data from 11 Neanderthal found at cave gave the researcher the first incontrovertible evidence of Neanderthal familiar relationship. According to the paper, the DNA from two individuals, an adult male and an adolescent female, suggested a first degree relationship, meaning it was possible for them to be mother and son, brother and sister, or father and daughter. But their non-matching mitochondrial DNA, which is generally passed on from mother to child, ruled out the first two pairing, leaving researcher face to face with the father and his teenage daughter. The father also shared mitochondrial DNA with two other male who were likely close material relatives. For example, they could have shared a grandmother. There is no evidence that these Neanderthal mingled with the nearby, even though they were likely in the same place at the same time. The researcher wrote that by this statement, Denisovans shared a common ancestor perhaps 30,000 years before Neanderthal lived, and individuals all appear equally related to Europeans, Neanderthal, and were part of the same Neanderthal population. High similarity in the genome segment of these Neanderthal also led the researcher to conclude that the local community size of the Neanderthal was small, fitting models to the mitochondrial DNA and Y-DNA, the latter of which is passed from father to their son. The best scenario assumed a community size of 20 individuals, with female migration being a major factor in the social organization of the Neanderthal community. In essence, some female remained with the group they were born into, while many others left their communities to join new ones. But the researchers aren't sure if the group size could be applied outside the Altai region. May have been a unique isolated example. Isolation might have these Neanderthal undoing. Speculating on this group cause of death, paleogenesis and lead author Loris Skov told that the group may have died of starvation following a poor bison hunt. Geochronologist and co-author Richard Robert told that it was just a horrendous storm. They are in Siberia after all.